Yeah,
I haven't seen that door in a while, huh? Welcome to Tavern Talk, the spoiler-filled talk show based on the epic fantasy series Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. My name is Ryan, and joining me today are my co-hosts, Brother Dan, actor extraordinaire Jansen Lashley Haynes, and Beth Domon from I Do Be Beth Domon YouTube channel. And last but not least, we have a special guest this week who is making their first appearance on our channel. Well, everyone, let's say hi to Leescience.
Hi, Leescience.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
The Tiara of Swords. That's so amazing. And I just want to say hello to all you humans on all the spectrums. Thank you for watching, and please enjoy the show. Today we are talking about the minorest of POVs in the Wheel of Time.
Ryan, the primitives.
The plebs. We're talking about the plebs, the working folk.
Dime a dozen.
If they're the Screen Actors Guild, they're on strike. We're going to talk about what it's like to be different professions throughout the lands of Randland. And this is a great topic. Jansen, you had this idea. You want to take us forward?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the peasants. They don't like that word in Andor. The commoners. The little guys. The guys, which I actually think, make up a very good portion of POVs in the series and give you a lot of information. But we're talking about what it's like to live in certain places as the same kinds of people. It's definitely different for a blacksmith who lives in Roniel than one that lives in, say, Tyr. It's definitely different for an innkeeper who lives in, say, Amador than one that lives in Andor. Bringing back Amador, it's definitely different for a wise woman to be living in Amador than it would be for one to be living in Andor or Tyr. So there's a lot of differences in the way people live in the culture because of what the aristocracy does to them. The aristocracy has a huge point in how they live. So we're going to talk about that today and what it's like living in the Westlands as common folk. People who, as they say, the maids say in Tyr, have to work for their crust. So let's talk about that.
For crust.
Before we start, Ryan, we haven't done this in a long time, but I think we need to make a new best friend.
Ooh.
Oh, whoa, you're right about that.
And that involves the 5 quick questions.
I was never even subjected to this. This is new. I can't wait.
Oh, it's not new. It's old, but it's new old. It's
new for me. So it's new.
It's 2.0.
Yes.
I don't have my list in front of me, but I'm going to. All right. So first, Lee, are you ready to become our new best friend?
Let's do this.
Let's go,
Okay.
Lee. Let's go.
Question 1. Have you ever eaten what you would consider to be a honey cake?
Do honey buns count? No. Okay.
Honey buns, if they're not in a wrapper from 7-Eleven, sure. If you get them from a donut store, then I would say yes.
That's awesome.
Probably not. No, the closest I've probably gotten is my mom's cinnamon rolls. So I'm out of luck. I got to go look on Wine Spring Inn and get her recipe and actually make them.
Okay.
Oh, wait, are these homemade cinnamon rolls, or are these from a can?
They are homemade cinnamon
God!
Oh my God, I'm dead right
But they
now.
don't have honey in them, so
I mean, yeah, Rand describes when he walks in, hey, someone's cooking some honey cakes. I mean, it's distinct. It's a honey cake.
It's hot.
So,
it's
not a cinnamon roll. It's a honey cake.
It from hand to hand. It's supposed to be good.
Question 2. Lee, when did you first discover the Wheel of Time series?
So I was probably in mid-high school, so early 2000s. And I had already read a lot of fantasy that was children's fantasy. And I think I had just put down the some of the Tamara Pierce stuff, some of the Tamara Pierce readings for youth fiction, and I was like, I need something that's like this, that is that's a group of people that are all fighting together. And so I picked up the Wheel of Time, read the Dust Jacket, and it was close enough to what I wanted, and I picked it up and I read it. And I got.
So it was the Eye of the World. Did the cover pull you in?
Yeah, because it was that whole group fantasy thing.
Okay, awesome. Question 3: have you ever seen a thatched roof in real life?
I think I did. I had the opportunity to go to Scotland for my cousin, one of my closest friends' wedding, and they were there. They had part of their historical legacy town had a thatched roof.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
That's so
In Ireland, I stayed in a place that had thatched roofs, and there were birds like nesting. They weren't storks, but there were birds nesting up there. It was awesome.
Hey, Alfred.
All right. Question 4. All right. Leescience, you walk into a tavern. You see 3 gloriously open-mouthed, like they just want to spill every secret they have. Drunk, fun drunk though, people, but they're all at separate tables, and you can only sit with one of them for 30 minutes. One of them over there is Tam Althar. One of them over there is Asmodean. And the one over there is Tom Maryland. Which table do you choose to sit at?
Probably Tam. I think I'd probably have the most in common with him. I have a tin ear, cannot do music. So Tom and Asmodean, I just don't think I'm gonna have enough.
I don't know why I said Tom. What if it was Lan?
Oh, honey, I gotta go with Lan.
All right, you go.
I changed my answer.
All right.
I put my own answer in chat, and I'm changing my answer.
If you change the people, you gotta change the answer.
Okay, yeah, Lan, Tam, Asmodean. I don't know why people aren't choosing the Forsaken. I would go Forsaken.
I did choose Forsaken at first until you said
even
Lan.
with Lan, even with Honey Bunny, Daddy's Daddy.
Yeah, speaking of honey cakes.
Hard planes and angles. Jansen, who would you choose to sit with?
I definitely sit. Well, do I have the first choices or the second choices?
There's 4 tables. Look, there's a 4th table.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
Sitting with Tom, for sure.
Yeah, Tom Maryland.
Yes.
Upon further pondering, I would sit with Asmodean, actually, to be honest with you. I think I would sit with Asmodean.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting.
Even with Lan being present, I would sit with Asmodean.
Me and Tom got the most in common. I'd hang out with
We
Tom.
may hear more words from Lan than any person on Earth. I mean, he's just ready to he's like, you know what I did when I was a baby? I held a sword. Let me tell you about it.
I liked how Leescience took into factor like how shy she would feel, like who would make her feel more comfortable having a conversation.
No, I don't really approach people. Yeah.
That was
Fair.
Tam is definitely a strong choice.
Yeah.
It's probably actually the one that I would go sit with, depending on how energetic I felt that day. But
Yeah.
Lan,
Well, yeah, it's
he's
like,
got
what do you want to
story.
get out of this? Like, Leescience, you're the first person to actually do that. To be honest, everyone is just like, oh, I want to learn. Well, I mean, what if you just want to...
She's like, no, man.
Hang out. I want
Who-
to
who
I have
chat.
a half hour.
Yeah, who would inspire you more? Who would you leave being a better person? Obviously, Tam.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to talk to Tom to learn. I'd go to talk to Tom so I could talk shit with him.
Oh, just for the shits and giggles?
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think there should be a caveat to this question. Like there
Talk
should be
to me.
like a wheel, a random wheel. Say, and then you spin the wheel and it has emotions on it. And then you're like, if you're feeling, and it says blue, or
Uh-huh.
down, who do you sit with? If I was feeling down, I would sit with Tam because Tam is just kind of naturally like just laid back and kind of encouraging. If I was feeling like melancholy but not really depressed, I would totally sit with Asmodean because you know, right? If I was like really wanting to like shit talk people, I would sit with Tom.
Okay.
And if I wasn't really wanting to talk to anybody at all and just kind of like be in the moment, I would sit with Lan. You have to, you should like a wheel with emotions. Just saying.
I think Lan would do a lot of just grunting.
I would be fine. He's eye candy. That's what I'm saying. He's middle-aged woman eye candy. That's I can just look at Lan.
I would say that my choice does differ depending on when I think about it. Not to those extremes, but you know, I go back and forth between Tam and Asmodean.
All good choices.
Quite the difference there.
All right, question number 5.
Okay, Gawain or Glad?
In bed?
Oh wait.
In whatever you want.
Whoa. Okay.
Gawain or Galad?
Yeah, are you on Team Gawain or Team Galad?
According to the books, they wouldn't have a choice.
Who would you rather if you got hired at Trader Joe's? And one of them could be your manager. Who would you want them to be?
Glad. Glad. Black and white. I need the black and white distinction. If I'm going to go for drinks, Gawain. If I'm going to have him as my boss, I need Glad. I need the structure. I don't want to be guessing what the roles are at work.
All right, no, we need you to draw a line in life.
Like, how come Lee's going
or Galad?
Stays.
Wait.
Or how about like pre Crown of Swords?
No,
No,
you're
just-
changing my. No, do you want to be my new best friend or no? These are my questions. I don't know what's going on here.
Gawain
This is unprecedented.
a real
What
person.
caveat?
He's like,
I
he's like a
respect
real
that answer.
person.
Yeah,
So-
I respect that answer.
If I were gonna go out for drinks or someone, I would invite Glad. Also, because I'm slightly a fixer, and
Yes.
I feel like I
Yes.
would be more drawn to him.
Own that codependency. Own it.
And he's super hot.
I mean, he's not unattractive.
I mean, they're
very
both
attractive.
hot, right? I mean, they're both
Yeah.
totally hot.
No,
Like,
but he's super hot. Like all his milkshake brings all the iodine to the
you
yard.
realize she's talking about Gowan right now, not Gallad.
Oh, I thought she said Galad.
No, she
Okay.
said
No.
Gowan.
Gawain.
Okay.
W.
Gawain. All right, Gawain. Yeah, I agree. Gawain. I'm Team Gawain. All right. Hey, welcome. I'm giving you a virtual hug. We're now best friends. We have a special handshake, I think.
You
welcome.
think?
I think. I don't know.
Just make it up now.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go bump, 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 and then you gotta put your legs over your. You gotta put pants on. By the way.
You
Yeah.
want to see me trying to
Jesus,
get
then
my
you-
mouth
you're
way
gonna
out.
get
All right.
No pants.
All right,
just
Corn
says
is not
cancel.
okay. Puppet corn is
Okay, we
not
have a new best friend, and I love it. Thank you, Lee. I'm very glad
Well
you're here.
played.
You are thinking of doing some content creation. Once that gets on the ground, we will certainly have you back on and do this thing. But in the
Oh, yeah.
meantime, you started a new Twitter called Tiara of Swords, guys.
Everyone, go follow
Getting
Tiara
on
of Swords.
Twitter right now. Tiara of Swords.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was just made, so everything you get is because of the show. We have,
You guys are
we
very
have 9 people. We have 9 guys.
I know
This
what's
is
going
Sunday.
on. This is
I thought
what's
there-
happening.
Yeah.
There is another content creator having a show right now as well.
Who is blast? This
Critter-
is sacred.
Critter XD is
What
doing a
the
first time reader show tonight with her cousin.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
What
Is
the,
And
this going to be a reoccurring
what the
thing?
fuck?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
Why?
gee.
Well, our fans, fucking them.
Well, you know what? I don't care. Hey, Fairweathers.
Yeah, whatever.
But it's you guys over here. I love so much.
I can't wait
Yeah,
to
I had
dive into this
two choice.
conversation.
One of them had to be the watch later one, and one of them had to be the watch live one. And since I'm on this one, That kind of dictated my choice.
Well,
So.
Same.
Right. Okay. Hint: we gotta just start having all of our that will hijack them.
Yeah.
To
Just
watch our
all
show
of
by
Critters, all
having
of
them
Critters
on.
fans get them on. If all of a sudden we see Lee just turning to the side for a long time, we know we've lost her to the other stream.
Like, or she just laughs. She's like, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, what
What was
Hey,
that?
Brother Dan, are you gonna put the Twitter for Leescience in the description of this video? Because I tried to search it on Google and I couldn't. On Twitter and I couldn't find it.
Who knows?
Yeah,
like I said, I literally just made it like
That's
an
cool.
hour ago, so it
That's
may
cool.
not be up yet.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I think it's capital T, capital O, capital S.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Oh, there it is. Matt found it.
Matt, you know what? MaTsDaGgerX is like our Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. That dude he's great. One of the best.
all right. So
We're
I'm
like,
gonna
hey,
go.
MaTsDaGgerX, we need a hack into NASA, and he's like, all right, give me a minute, and I'm in.
I'm in. Shall we play a game? All right. I changed your name to be your Twitter handle. I believe that's correct, right? Tiara of Swords.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Awesome.
All right, so hey, let's jump into it now.
I can't wait.
Let's get into it.
We can do it either way. We can just. I was thinking we jump from like society to society, and start talking about what the best like basic profession would be, what the worst would be, where they would be like kind of on the line, you know.
Real jobs. So, like, if I would putting myself into, the Westlands, I would probably be either an innkeeper or a gleeman. So I'm going with one of those two. And because my professions as an actor and bar business owner make me perfect for those two. And they would all be different in different. Now, being a gleeman is what I'd really like to be, because a gleeman's liked everywhere he goes. He's one of those universal characters in the Wheel of Time that is pretty much liked by everyone, with the exception of one ship's captain who went down the Arenal very quickly and had nothing. We didn't want anything to do with. I believe his name,
The no fancy pants gleeman.
Captain Malia. Was that his name?
Oh, Balia.
Beth, we lost you. We can't hear you.
I hear you.
Oh no. All right, and still can't hear you.
Erno.
Oh no.
Me?
No,
Now you can.
Oh, there
now
you
you
are.
can. There you are.
Like, hit the mute button on my freaking. Is that the riverboat captain from the Dragon Reborn when Tom and Matt are escaping Tar Valon and they jump? I'm just about at that part of the book in Rosamund Pike's reread in her audiobook. It's amazing.
Malia?
I can't remember. I don't know his name. I haven't come across him yet, but I know who you're talking about.
Because there's another ship's captain that they get on later after she finds out that Robin's in Camelyn. And who was it? Matt called his ship a butter tub. Durna. Captain Durna. That was his name. But
well, Jansen, don't we see some gleemen that are more rough around the edges, that have dirty to me, when that occurs, it's like to me Tom is the exception. The Two Rivers hired this but it could have been a dirty ass rogue, and I'm not sure that every gleeman is super liked in every society, right?
I think every gleeman is as trained as Tom. I believe that Tom is as high as a gleeman can be. He's the best gleeman that there is. He's the best gleeman in the world. There's no better gleeman than Tom Maryland. And we saw that over and over, because when they were in Carrion in the Great Hunt, there were many gleemen on the streets performing. Some were juggling. And, one other thing that we always saw in the Wheel of Time is every time Tom Maryland was performing and then there was another performer in the room, the other performer looked at Tom with sad eyes, because they knew how good Tom was.
Well, Tom wasn't a Gleeman though. He was a bard disguised as a Gleeman, right? Like that's a whole nother.
I mean, didn't Val and Luca's menagerie have Gleeman?
No, they had
storytellers.
No, they had jugglers, and Tom said that they were all good, but they didn't work the same way that Tom did, and that's why he accepted into that thing. But Tom did more than juggle. He did sleight of hand. You know, he did all kinds of things.
He swallowed swords.
Sword swallows, breathe fire. He could do all those things.
Yep.
Matt and Rand traveling as the lowest of the low Gleeman at the very beginning of this whole series might be a better example of like getting kicked out sometimes, but most of the time people are willing to get anything at all, at least in the door.
Oh yeah,
I would love if there was a backstory to the patch cloak. Like we never hear why the cloak is what it is, but I would love that there was a backstory that like it was from every inn they ever played at, or they tore a piece of their sheet or something, and some shit like that.
And see, the other thing, for a regular Gleeman, because we're going to keep Tom out of it for a little bit. Tom was also a master of the game of houses. Every Gleeman who walks into a place isn't going to be able to assess a situation like Tom Maryland could.
Right.
So, you know, but being someone who's hitchhiked all over the country, someone who has, been fly by the seat of his pants and has, acted with troops, things like that. Like, I look back at my young life and think that I was a Gleeman, actually.
How many leotards have you had to wear?
I didn't have to wear a leotard, but I did wear a skirt a couple times.
Well, hey, we all did, right? We all did. Hey, I want to say hello to Just Baguettes, which is one of my favorite names. Who wants an unjust baguette, right?
No, we all want just baguettes.
Yeah, we want just baguettes. We all want Jack Smith baguettes.
To be objective, yeah. Objective baguette.
And everyone, we do have a Discord channel, and we are backstage. If you want to see my real face, you got to come to Discord and watch me work. All right. Oh, and last but not we didn't get to this.
Thank you,
Leescience, MaTsDaGgerX is giving you.
Let's go.
In honor, let's go.
Yes.
Thank you, MaTsDaGger. So kind.
MaTsDaGger is consistently top tier.
I hope you've had a really, really good weekend, MaTsDaGger.
Brother Dan, I'm glad you brought up how Tom was hired by the Two Rivers. Like, I would love to know that story.
Yeah.
I would. Well, he obviously had spent a lot of time, I believe. One thing that we did see that Tom was known for is when he goes to an inn, Tom had been, he would rent it out for a few weeks. So I believe that, we do have evidence that he already knew who Padden Fane was when he was in the Two Rivers. So he was in Baralon for a while, earning, coining money there. And they sent up, because they remember, and also remember, what was his name? God, I can't remember his name. The gatekeeper in Baralon greeted Tom on the way back, saying, I remember you going.
You're back.
Oh, you're back. Didn't like your tricks down country? I remember she said that to them. So
I wonder if Tom was stuck in the snows because of the winter in Baralon. Because remember, there were a ton of miners and stuff that were stuck in the city because winter didn't end. So they were literally just stuck there. So I wonder if maybe if the pattern set it. So that
I think it had also been years since he had been back to Camelyn or Tar Valon. So, that doesn't leave a lot in that area other than Baralon and Whitebridge and, the Lens and things like that.
That's my favorite thing from the. Oh, sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
Please go, Lee.
Oh, I was just gonna say that was one of my favorite things from the show that kind of to me crossed over was that he had the choice to go down country and go to Emmons Field, or he had the choice to go to the mining villages, and he was talking about he had to make that choice, and he in the books he went down to Emmons Field. In the TV show, in my head, he went up to the mining villages and got stuck in the mining villages during the snow. So I've created my own little headcanon on why they made that decision.
But to be a Gleeman in this time, or in these different towns wouldn't be as hard as some professions because you're so liked by everyone. So I believe being a gleeman would be for me at least, would be a pretty cool profession.
Yeah, I agree. I guess just to regress real fast, I'm going to dig into Ryan's question just for a minute. How did Tom get this gig? So was it that they asked Patton Fane last time he was in town? They're like, hey, can you get us or did he say, hey, I know a gleam and I can on the cheap? And they're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we'll invest in that. And then 6 months, 8 months later, he shows up. I mean, how the fuck? There's no agent, there's no internet, there's no.
Well, what's the name of the guy?
How did they get a gleeman?
There's got to be a guy with a pigeon coop in Emmons Field too, right? They had it all over.
Well, no, because they say the only correspondence that they get is from merchants who come. So I'm sure they probably have like a post system in place probably, and they probably sent it to the mayor. The mayor of Emmonsfield sent it to the governor of Barelon or whatever and was like, hey, we would like for our Winter's Night bell time.
Well, maybe we know for a fact that at that time there was not one in Andor because Elaine, from her POV, and I believe it's Winter's heart, says that she's been meaning to start a royal post.
Jensen,
nice.
Just back up with all of your trivial knowledge.
How about this now?
Back up. But there has to be a system in place because remember, the Two Rivers is so far removed from Andor, they hadn't seen tax collectors for generations. But there's got to be there's enough commerce going on that people know what the Two Rivers is. Two Rivers tobacco, Two Rivers wool.
Yeah.
So it's established in trade communities. So I'm sure that there is some sort of mode of communication that has been derived over the generations that just didn't make it into the writings.
I imagine somebody like the mayor wrote a letter and it kind of got passed on, and so he sent it with the merchant or whoever, and it's like, hey, when you go to Barelon, stop at the inn there, one of the inns there, and have them look for somebody
or something,
right?
Things.
And we do know that they do correspond with other villages. Like we know that the women's circle corresponded with other women's circle, especially because in the Dragon Reborn they helped Viren and Alana with their water.
Correct.
So we know that they talk to other people. So yeah, there'd be a way for them to get some stuff out.
It's just crazy to think about. I mean, it's got to be so coordinated for it to get to Tom. What, like he's at an inn staying somewhere, and they're like, "Hey,"
it's called the pattern.
I like to think they just posted up like a thing on the wall that had like those little slips of. It's like a gleeman wanted bell time, and you just rip off the Wine Spring Inn. Okay, all right.
No.
And there were like 3 or 4 already ripped, and they're like, "Uh-oh."
I gotta.
But just think about Tom's. Remember what Tom's impression was when he got to Emmonsfield in the middle of the night, and he felt really put out because he was like, he got there in the middle of the night, and the innkeeper was like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I'm your gleeman." He expected to be treated like with this level of, of recognition for his craft, and it's like, and Master Ovir is like, "It's midnight, dude. What are you doing?"
He's like, "Yeah, I know, and it's snowing. Let me in and be nice."
Exactly.
I mean,
you asked me here. Dang it!
Folk cruises for free and get treated with lavish presents. They could even go into the waste and do whatever. They could slap an eel.
What did the ideal think of Gleeman? I remember
slap an eel in the face and they wouldn't do anything. They said, I remember the POV from Fires of Heaven. No. Yeah, from Fires that said that a gleeman could do anything short of murder and not be called down for it. So
wow.
They're treated.
Are they one of the people who have like safe passage through the waste?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Cleaners
it's
and
tinkers
cleaners. Was there another one?
And
Yeah,
tinkers,
Carrion
gleemen, and
blacksmiths.
traders.
and
Blacksmiths?
Carrion
Peddlers.
used to before layman cut
Right.
the tree.
So let's stay in the Two Rivers. The best profession, obviously, is innkeeper, because Bryant is not only the richest man in town, the only guy with the clock, but he also is the mayor. So obviously,
Blacksmith.
there's corruption.
Wisdom.
There's a whole lot of power, and he's been mayor for 20 years. Yeah, right. And why have a gleeman unless you're expecting tourism? And where are they going to stay? The Wine Spring Inn. Yeah, we all know what you're doing, Donald Alvear. So so that's obviously the most profitable and best profession. There are no footmen. There are no.
But no, now remember, who is it? She's training as a footman now. He's in the Two Rivers. He's friends with Perrin, and he's a footman at Perrin's new
Oh,
house.
geez, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so people
I
are
know who
doing
you're talking
Fingar?
about, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it was the hot guy. The one that was like, everyone was like,
Will
oh,
Alcine?
not Will Alcine.
No, Will Alcine is with him traveling
Roniel.
with
But wasn't he like at the very beginning?
Will Alcine is the bannerman of the
Yeah,
companion.
he's the bannerman of the companions.
on the wolf card now. Bless you. And
Did
bless
you know that Bryant actually had like paid security because he was the mayor, and he charged them to stay at the Wine Spring Inn?
Brand's security was Scratch.
Weird, right?
Scratch the cat.
Anyways,
Was
Right.
Brand's
No, well, there's the two guys that work. He has two hands that work.
Will and Tad.
Yeah, Will and Tad. Usually seen carrying Bryant Alvear's big Durance for loyal.
is being a blacksmith as big a deal as it seems, or is it just because Master Luhan and Perrin are the characters there? Is being a blacksmith a bigger deal than being a seamstress?
I think anywhere you live in the Westlands, a blacksmith is a very lucrative job and a very respected guy, because they need them to survive and to get the entire town running. From anything from nails to pins to screws to anything that needs metal or metal work. But and that's something in the Two Rivers. That's something that one blacksmith and his apprentice was doing for years, up until Rand came and the whole world went upside and changed. But in different towns, blacksmithing is a very different profession.
Right.
But still, I believe that a blacksmith is still one of the most respected individuals in most towns. I don't think they're treated poorly.
I like to think a seamstress, we just never really met her, but was probably part of the women's circle. Or what? Women's council. Women's circle. Was probably a part of power as well. I think all the merchants probably were, and so that was in my head, a seamstress is the person who makes the stout Two Rivers
I think
woolens.
there's a difference between the owner of a dress shop and a seamstress. A seamstress is a worker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you can be a dresser. Somebody.
Who was that? Mistress Dormila?
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. Yes. The
Dormila?
one who tried to drug Nynaeve and Elaine in with fork root. That's the first time we saw fork root being used.
No, that was not Dormila. That was
Mistress
Okay,
Darwin,
it doesn't matter, but you know what
Mistress
I mean.
Stella McCartney.
I mean, I think that a seamstress is a trade profession, but
Elaine Dormila is the seamstress in Tar Valon that we heard that Swan and Moraine went to when they were just raised. When they were just raised to be ice
Spring.
And Moraine and Swan went to go get dresses, which each cost 10 gold crowns.
Jesus.
In
I hate you right now. I love the look on your face when you start getting real deep.
Yeah, all right.
With the facts.
I would
like-
be interested in finding out what Leescience's
like a
favorite
flow
profession
site.
to talk about would be.
Yeah, what's your thing, Lee? What would you like?
Let's see. So if I went with what I actually am in the real world, I'd have to pick some kind of bureaucrat, which, is interesting, and it does change depending on whether you're in Tar Valon or in Tyr. And I think the one that's run by the Council of Merchants is really interesting because it would really very much change what your priorities are and how you dealt with people, because merchants have priority over everything else versus some other places where you have people have priority, or certainly not Tyr where the commoners have priority, the lords have priority there. And so the dynamics would change depending on which country you are and what priorities you were. So I think that's really interesting to me as far as what I would do in my real life.
Where would you rather practice?
Good question.
Thank
Where would I rather practice? I probably would rather be in
Kyrian.
Andor, or I would rather be in the Damani one. I'd
Aerodon.
rather Aerodamon.
So you get to wear them dresses?
Yeah.
Wow, those are two very
Like,
different because in
Sexy.
Aerodoman, the politicians are the merchants.
Mhm.
So it's that'd be different because they are a different kind. That'd be a different way to live for a politician as a
Mhm.
merchant than like in Tyr where the politicians are the lords.
Right.
And MaTsDaGger brought up what I was going to say is Seven Balwer is I am, as you guys know, I am a fan of Seven Balwer, and bring me that kind of power and
Well,
knowledge.
based on your, he is the most dangerous man in the
Yeah,
world.
what that was that
Right?
he got that little
It was hard to
he
argue.
really is. Yeah, he really is. He's like
Anyone who dry washes their hands.
dude, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
Is power.
Tom would
That's all
agree.
I'm gonna
Tom
say
would
about
agree.
that.
You know.
Yep.
All right, well let's go to Andor then. We don't hear much of blacksmithing. There's a bunch of blacksmiths as opposed to Edmonds Field where there's a bunch of inns. The inns are actually political factions to a
Yes,
certain
they are.
degree.
Big time.
So talk to me.
Big time. Well, one little footnote as far as blacksmithing goes. We did hear about blacksmithing in Andor, but the majority of the blacksmithing that we heard in Andor were for the Queen's Guards, and for new breastplates and things like that that we heard. And so, I think that the blacksmiths in Andor, the majority of them, especially during wartime, are funded by the Crown. And we saw even the Bell founders started being funded by the Crown later as well. So I think, as far as just a little footnote, blacksmithing in Andor would be a highly paid job with benefits. So it'd be a good one to have. Now, as far as an innkeeper, I think being an innkeeper in Andor would be also lucrative because you got to remember when you're an innkeeper, you're also a restaurant owner. You're also a hotel owner, and so you get a lot of information, but it all depends on the kind of clientele that you allow into your establishment as an innkeeper that decides whether or not you're running a hell or you're running the Queen's blessing, or you're wondering, or the Wandering Woman or something like that, which are all different inns.
It's a very different clientele. Satalanan is by far my favorite character, so I
love it. I love it.
I love it.
It makes me think of those taverns that were in New Spring, where Moraine kept almost getting kidnapped and sold into slavery and sex trade.
Yes.
Let's not go there. But
and that was a Chachin, and or before she got to Chachin.
I can't remember. I just remember it was one of those places, and she was looking around trying to find Swan, and she could not find her, and she was going into the lowbrow ones, the commoner ones.
I love how you said lowbrow.
Well, and she's like, yeah, this is where Swan would stay, that dirty woman.
Totally. She's going to be in here. And Swan is like, what are you doing?
She's like, what? No, this is dangerous.
Comes here.
Yeah.
But, we can also say that, Sue. That's another difference between some of the innkeepers. Like, the innkeepers in Andor, they were all pretty nice and ingratiating to people. They were stern, but they didn't take crap, but they were pretty nice and open. The innkeepers in the Borderlands were not. They're pretty stern, and most of the innkeepers in the Borderlands we found were women, which is a big difference from the ones we saw in Andor. Most of the innkeepers we saw in Andor, I believe we only saw 2, possibly 3 were men. We saw a few more. We saw a few more when Matt and Rand were on their way down the flight down the Arrow.
Right, especially where they almost got kidnapped themselves, and Rand channeled and killed a man.
He wasn't kidnapped. They were just trying to rob and kill them.
Yeah, Haakon Strom, and that was the first skinny innkeeper Rand ever saw.
And Shayol Ghul was the dark
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, Shayol Ghul. Yes, Shayol Ghul. That's right.
I'm going to be quiet now. We have a guest.
We have a guest.
I'm in agreement that you can tell skinny innkeeper. I have learned my lesson. We are not doing, which is kind of what was so funny about like the show and who they cast as Bran in the show. And immediately so many people were like, that guy is way too skinny.
Right.
Nobody told the casting director, apparently.
Now, I have a question about that. So, did we ever really hear fully? No, I guess we did. We did. No, I just answered my own question. But no, we knew he was an innkeeper. Do we ever hear that Bran in the show was the mayor?
No.
Okay.
They didn't. That was one of the things that really I felt lacked, was that for me, it was really important that society be equal. I mean, it's still divided, but it had an equal power representation because it had the men's group and it had the women's group, and they both had equal say in their own sphere. And they cut that out for time, but that was really important to me because that was the foundation that all of the rulers of the future were going to be using, this separate but equal, which is better than what they had right now, and they cut it out. So that's one of the things.
And even Days Conger,
go ahead.
Even Days Conger shuts down Bran Alvira when he's like, "Time to work, Nynaeve," and she's like, "Shut up, man! She's a woman now. Have a beer, yeah." She's the chubby innkeeper, is Days Conger.
I wonder if they're not going to hopefully put a little bit more cultural background information because season 3 they go back to Emond's Field.
Yeah,
maybe that's something we'll see a little bit more in depth when Terrence goes back to Emond's Field.
Well, I'm
assuming it's Terrence.
So I think we're going to see more people in Emond's Field because this is post-COVID now. So I think they're going to be able to flush a lot more out. Just some of the visuals that we're going to see, like people doing things that we were like, oh, that's great. They're actually like spinning wool this time. They're actually doing this time. What I missed, what I wish I saw was a mill in Emond's Field. Because the miller, John Thane, is always mentioned. And I never saw a mill, in Emond's Field. Where's that? Yeah.
Give us a mill.
Yeah.
Just a general mills.
I mean, Little House on the Prairie had a mill. Why can't Emond's Field have a mill?
They said that each house in the village that they created was based on a different character, and I keep meaning to go back and like look at each house and say, okay, who is this? Who is this? Who is this?
Yeah.
And
show idea. Show idea.
That's a
show idea. Leescience is a returning guest.
Lee, so to your point, to your point about the male and female divisions that exist in the book but do not in it starts off with Egwene getting pushed off a cliff, right, into the water, and this isn't really even clear that it's a women's circle thing. It just seems like, I mean, Layla could have gone, but she didn't go.
Yeah.
Or not Layla. Who?
New readers, it telegraphed pretty well that this is the women's stuff, not women's circle, because
it was just you're a woman now, but
but it didn't reek of like this is or it didn't this is a ruling or decision making group.
Yeah.
Right, but it did not also seem that it was exclusive. It seemed like it could be just once you become Egwene's age, you get pushed off a cliff.
Right.
Yeah. So, I guess let's jump into the Aiel, shall we, and talk about because these are much different priorities.
Yes, because there are no innkeepers in the waste.
Correct. Yes.
No innkeepers in the
tourism is not a thing.
Yeah. But commerce is a thing. So they do they do give people accommodations. It's just not the kind that you'll find on the other side of the spine of the world. But they do have blacksmiths there, and blacksmiths in the waste are revered. They are treated better than anyone. They are people. You can't even make a blacksmith a guy shine.
Right.
In the waste, they are. They are the bee's knees. So, to be a blacksmith in the waste is a pretty high place job. We even saw in the Shido, a group of Aiel that went against every single custom that they knew, except they even let the blacksmiths go in the towns that they, took over. So blacksmiths are pretty revered amongst the Aiel, almost to a biblical sense. So,
they are the engineers, more or less.
Yeah. So I have a question for y'all. Do you consider the Aiel to be an agrarian society or a hunter-gatherer society?
I'd say they're hunter-gatherers by the conditions of their environment, but they try to be agrarian when they're able to. It's truly hybrid society.
Yeah, but what do they really hunt to eat? Because it's like they have, they grow vegetables and they herd goats. And
so
the only
pastoral,
as opposed to the other way around.
Pastoral one.
Yeah, pastoral would be probably how I would describe their existence. Aggressively, maybe. Though. I mean, territorially. What?
Yeah. On the edge, about to become something else.
I guess the question is, what percentage of Aiel live in holds, and what percentage of them are traveling consistently? I think that would be.
I think they all have a hold, but I think
but how often do they? What percentage of them actually live in the holds full time?
I think that would depend on what society they're in.
Exactly.
Because different societies do different. Like the Thunderwalkers do different things than the Black Eyes. The Maidens of the Spear, they do different jobs. And I know that the Red Shields, they did things. Ruark told Jula and Sandar that the Red Shields did what parts of their jobs were to be thief catchers. So, they know, they do have different things that they do. So yeah, I believe some of them would probably be out of the hold a lot as, the water seekers.
Water seekers. There's scouts. There's and I'm sure that there's hunters who will know how to dry their stuff or at least preserve it and bring it back, and they have trades and stuff.
It's like on that edge between pastoral and agrarian, where it's you have enough food stored to where you can start divide labor and create additional structure, but not quite to me, it's not quite fully agrarian because they are kind of nomadic. And
Right.
if something happened, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh, why do I get the
they
feeling
do dry
like
beef.
Leescience is like some kind of civil engineer or something? Like
You're trying to
So
piece-
Lee,
I'm a
Lee,
bureaucrat.
every time I say your name, I want to be like Danny Elfman and go Lee.
Science.
I mean, is
Leescience.
is that not a coincidence?
See, she
It
sounds
is-
like somebody who does. I would almost possibly think you a pro bono lawyer.
Cool. No, I'm not a lawyer. But
Nice. Yeah,
Cool.
she's like, great. Of all the most hated profession, Jansen.
no,
You know,
Pro
there's-
bono? No, that's
I
cool.
do live in a family.
Hey, my
of
wife's a lawyer.
lawyers, though, so that I must be. I have to talk lawyer, like Jensen.
Legalese,
You have
legalese, right?
people that are in your family that are lawyers. If you don't learn how to do it, you're gonna get run over all the time.
So funny.
Check. Make sure.
All right,
the
while we're hey, look at this adorable picture I just found
What the
on
hell is
Twitter.
that? I was not expecting there to be a
Look at that
nice
shirt.
picture.
Look at that. She posted.
But-
She's
but-
going
but-
live with us. That's so great. So great.
I was not ready to see that. I was looking at
Oh,
Jansen
yeah.
like doing this, and all of a sudden there's like this big, huge picture of me right there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, potty mouth. Sorry.
No, hey, this is
That's
Tavern
all
Talk.
Hey, Tavern Talk.
Ding.
There's Daniel when he was.
All right, laugh break. Everyone, like and subscribe to the channel. Push it out and raise.
Do you know who has the best profession
In all of Randland?
in all of Randland?
Oh, I think a Shanchan servant.
No, it would be Bella.
The horse.
Hold on, is that in a
Horse
profession?
wranglers and
What's
Bella.
supposed to do your
Bella.
Bella?
Bella. 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 Bella.
Oh
No,
no,
did I scare Leescience away?
we lost her. Hey, some people can't handle
Spoiler!
it all. It's fine. Okay.
Sorry, I was missing Bella. I just wanted to get my Bella fix.
No,
That's the
we're
creator's
shameless.
avatar is the best profession
Yeah.
in the
We
entire.
are shameless. We need the flimsiest of excuses.
We got an hour in before we did a Bella. I am shocked.
Yes. Well, we're trying to clean our act up. Just kidding.
I look like Secret Squirrel said I look like that alien lady in Galaxy Quest.
I bet
I've
you
never
would.
seen Galaxy Quest,
Was-
so I
was
don't
she a
know what
hottie?
the reference is.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
have
that's
absolutely no idea.
I'm sure she's
I'm
adorable.
sure that's super compliment. Oh
Hey,
yeah,
I
no,
think-
that was Farrah Fawcett, I think.
Oh, was that fair? I am definitely.
Was it
not
Raquel
fair.
Welch? I don't know. It was one of
I don't
those.
It was one of
I'm
those.
so on board. I'm so on board.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
All right, Jansen. Where else? What? Who else? Or where
Well,
else?
Well,
I actually think my favorite I think a really fun profession in Randland would be to be the gatekeeper. Because if you get tipped just for opening a door for somebody,
Eh.
Really, that's pretty.
a lot more power than you realize being a gatekeeper, especially in a place like Carrion, where you know who comes and goes, because that's big information in a place like Carrion or Tar Valon, where people like to know where people are.
Right.
So that's a high placed position to be in. All the gatekeepers that we saw always had a smile on their face, always got a gold coin, and always had information.
Well,
So that's
yeah,
a-
and Lord. So, like to your point, Lord Talmanis, I think, was where Rand went in Kyrian. His manor, was that where the party was? Talmanis Manor.
No, not Lord Talmalis, Lord Barthanis.
Barthanis, that's who it is. but that's like the Viper Room. It's like the dude standing out there with the list. It's like behind him, and he's like, these guys aren't on the list, though. You can go, Well,
that estate, Lord Barthanas' estate, is now the library to the Dragon Reborn in Carrion.
Correct.
And so it is a vast place of knowledge now.
I mean, I want to talk about wise women and hedge doctors. We have 20
this
minutes
is big.
left.
I love
This is what we need to talk about is wise women and hedge doctors.
Okay.
And mothers and what they're
healing women, whatever you call them, as Nynaeve says. Get me one.
Was it? And Jensen will know. Which one was it where it was men that were doctors and
Amadicia
was like
Amador.
It's in Amadicia because women. That's what when Jensen mentioned it earlier, I was like, they're hedge doctors. They're not. Women don't really practice the craft there because everybody's so afraid that they'll be accused of being a female channeler, of being a witch. And
men also practice healing in Shanshan. No respectable Shanshan person would even let a Demani heal them.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
They also practice medicine there too. But we do have a few instances where some of the mother/wisdoms, at least one really good one I can think of, involving my favorite character, Andrel, where one of my favorite healers who lives in Tyr taught him how to the craft of herbs.
Did Mother Gwenna teach him?
Yes, in his
crossover.
Yeah, tells it to Pavara mentally while he's trying to. While she has a concussion, and she tells him about the trip about him in Tyr learning from a certain mother about the craft.
I need to Google this or go back because I had no idea about that crossover because Mother Gwenna, I love her so much.
Andrew has a couple of cool ones. He even tells Pavara about his time with Jane Farstrider.
Yes.
Yes, I knew that.
Andrew's the most interesting man in the world.
He is. I love him. He's awesome.
Yeah. And when I drink, I only drink Dos Equis. Which is the least interesting drink, makes it more interesting.
Out my Wheel of Time companion here.
It's like you obviously could drink anything you want. You drink Dos Equis. That's interesting. All right.
Keep talking.
Before we I would love to talk about the role of servants and how they're treated and how they become servants.
It all depends on where you live.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the crux of what we're talking about. Like, a lot of this, it seems like Robert Jordan makes a point of talking about the servants all the time. Like everywhere he goes, it's like you learn about the power, people in power, by how the servants are treated. And you learn about the society in a lot of ways by how this happens.
Yeah. My dad always said that about people, even in real life. That was his thing. He was like, when you go on a date, you go and you look at how the person you're with is treating the wait staff. And if they're being mean to the wait staff, that's a red flag.
Yes, your dad's awesome.
Yeah, someone brings you water, you say thank you. Even if it's a busboy or whatever, like on the and I don't want to say even if it's, but that's like on the scale of things, like they just bring water at that point, and you're like, thank you. Gosh, this is coming out wrong, but this is, no, I'm with you.
The prologue, not the prologue. In the beginning, the very first chapter in the introduction of Fires of Heaven, we get a very good POV about this exact same thing, about how you're supposed to treat servants by a bad person too. The Lady Altima from Tyr goes to the palace to see Morghese, and in her POV, she talks about treating, if she's good to the servants, they'll tell other servants that she's good, and then she'll be in good with the servants that way. And this is right before Lord Gabriel / Robin uses compulsion on her to make her a sex slave.
I think there's also mention about different gossip that way when Matt was forced to be a servant, and they're like, go hang out with the servants, and just pretend you're my servant, and I know it sucks, but you'll still get fed really well, and you'll hear gossip about how, and he's like, this guy treats his servants like shit. This guy is good, like that's all they talked about was just. Gossip about their bosses, I guess.
Totally. Well, especially when they're in Lord Barthanas' house. Remember, he says, "My lord, you wouldn't believe of such goings on."
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah,
exactly.
Oh yeah. So didn't those guys kill themselves when Barthanas died?
No, that was when Lord the Shanshan Lord Turok.
High Lord Turok. Yeah.
Then those servants do kill themselves.
Are those servants compulsory?
They are very loyal, and they.
Well, was that a choice?
Is it compulsory or is it by choice?
Yeah, was it? What do you think, Lee?
Choice.
I think. I think it's a choice, but it's a choice backed by societal pressure, where you are expected to do that, and if you don't, it's a big deal. So I don't know. This is my own thing. I watch the Chinese imperial dramas. I don't know if y'all have ever seen those, but they're period pieces, and in those, I can see a lot of the Shanshan societal structure in those. And for that, when the Empress died, or when the lady died, her staff was given the honor of committing suicide with her, or dying with her, and being buried with her.
Yeah, and we know that in Egypt back in the day, when some of the pharaohs died, his servants were buried with them in honor. And
so is that position of a Shanshan, like handmaid servant or whatever, is that an honorable position? Aren't they like dressed in like sheer gowns that shows their
No, those are the Dako veil.
It just shows the nips.
God, okay.
Yeah, so I have a question about Shanshan societal culture. Is everybody who is a servant in a noble house some sort of slave? Aren't they hereditary slaves? Aren't they born into slavery? And they're given places of honor, but they're not servants. They are all slaves. Even like the hands of like their voices. Like what's her name? Selusha was a slave. She was still a slave. She was born into that role, and she would never get out of that role.
And Gainan's mother, even though she was captain of the gold, was also she was owned by the
So it's servitude. There is not. I mean, they might think it's voluntary because that's their way their culture was made, but I think their entire societal structure, you're not a serving person by choice. You're not looking to go into that to have a solid line of work for to feed your family.
Well, and you can be. I don't know about that, but I don't know specifically about Shanshan, but I think you can also be sold into it by your family. So
it's also like feudal. It's feudal.
It's very.
It's a feudal society, right? Yeah.
Lee, you had me thinking, so you had sent me a message saying, so I assume we're going to talk about the Shanshan, how kind of benevolent and great they are to the people in general. And this got me thinking, and this conversation has triggered it, that the closer you are, the more that they should care about you, the worse they treat you. So I think that the royal blacksmith is probably treated much worse than just a normal blacksmith because it's the royal one, so they can't look at you and they can't talk to you and they need to kneel in the corner or do what But if you just say the 3 oaths or you just say the oath and all right, I promise to obey, follow, and whatever. Then they pretty much fuck off and don't care. But if you're part of the royal thing, there's so many levels and protocols. It seems like the more important you are, the worse you're treated. I wonder if you think that as far as like the seamstress or the blacksmith or if we take that to the Sanshan royalty, what do you think?
Well, if you're part of the royal family, you're not treated badly at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was
Until you are.
for this. I was like, I don't know anything about different types of society. Agrarian is the only one I could. I was like, okay, I know that one. What are the other ones? And one of the things that they were talking about was like, as you develop a structure, you give up freedom and for increased certainty, and the organizations, the freedom of choice and stuff. The more deeply you get into it, the less freedoms you have, the less agency you have, because you are given more guarantees of freedom or food or whatever. So that's kind of what that's kind of where this falls into, where it's like, if you're in the actual structure and linear structure of power within the system, you are getting the certainties afforded of real food and safety because you're inside the palace walls, versus when you're outside of the structure, you don't get as much safety, you don't get as much certainty of food, and you don't get as much loss of agency. So that kind of fits in with what y'all were saying, but with the thing.
Yeah, and so I guess they're in different branches from that. They're like, just, you guys are gross to us, just say the oath and we'll move on. I don't care. But if you're working for the Empress, may she live forever, then you're treated poorly.
I mean, well, I don't think they're treated poorly. I think they're under a different standard. If you remember in the later books, and I don't know exactly which book it is, when Perrin is trying to get Fail back and he starts working with Tylee, and they go, and he has that note from Suroth that he had apprehended from Massima, that said basically like, do whatever I say because of this note. And it was Suroth's seal. And then they went to the person who had all the fork root, ran the fork root mill, and they were trying to get the fork root to drug the entire, all the wise people that were associated with the Shido. That was a clerk, right? Like a grandiose clerk, but they were still a slave. And it was somebody with a lot of assumed responsibility. So I don't necessarily think that they're treated poorly the closer they are. I think it's like a higher level of responsibility. So there's more obligation. So there's more of an eye on you, more scrutiny, and you don't want to fuck up, because if you fuck up, there's not many options for correction when you're in that kind of level. It's almost like,
you make a good point.
Like historically, when okay, I'm trying to think of my biblical history now, when who was the youngest son, Technicolor Dreamcoat?
Joseph? No,
not
Jacob.
Jacob.
No, Jacob.
No, and the Technicolor, the youngest son,
Seamus.
of 13 sons, youngest son gets
Prince.
sold. His brothers sell him into slavery, and he becomes the eyes and ears and mouth of Pharaoh.
Cain?
He's still
Abel?
a slave, but he has a ton of power. He was, I can't remember, somebody in chat is going to tell me. It was named after, it's an Old Testament story, and there's a musical named after Daniel. No, it's not Daniel.
Enoch.
Daniel?
No, it's not Enoch. Anyway, it's one of those situations where somebody is brought in. It was Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Thank you. It was Joseph. Okay, it's different Joseph. It wasn't Joseph the father of Jesus.
I was like, I
Joseph.
can't think of it.
Yes, I was right. So he was the youngest son,
Ezekiel.
and he had a much favor from God, and his brothers basically
Threw him in a well.
Threw him in a pit,
Jacob,
and then
right?
they sold him to Egyptians, and he went in as a lowly slave, and he was really savvy, and he was blessed by God, so he raised up into a position of power in the house of Pharaoh, but he was still a slave. And that's what I think, those people who are in positions of power, you can get wealth. He was wealthy. He had his own house. He had his servants, but he was still a slave to Pharaoh. So I think that's like kind of what the entire Shan-Chan infrastructure is based on. slavery and human enslavement. And that's how people who are free are able to be kept in line. And yeah, they have a piece, like when Rand went to Abu Dar, right? And he looked when he had the Chosen Call Sangreal with him, and he was gonna blow up Abu Dar to get rid of Shanshan. He was going through the streets and he realized how orderly everything was. There was no crime, there was no poverty, everybody was taken care of. But so,
the trains
like what
were on
Leescience
time.
said,
There were no gypsies or homosexuals. There were
but
Jews.
What Lee, right? But what? Yeah, but what Lee? Because the Tuathan all ended up going there for the stability. But that's the thing. Like what Leescience said, are you willing to give up some of your freedoms for protection? Right? There's a lot of parallelisms that we can talk about going on right now with freedoms versus protections, and that's exactly what the Shanshan do. And your kind of the thing that's they're holding it over your head is at any time you might lose all of your freedoms if you don't conform. You either conform or you don't, and if you don't, this is what happens to you: you die or you become a servant.
Well, if we take this slavery, if we take American slavery, I tend to think that there was a hierarchy, and the closer you were to your owner, the nicer you were treated, and the
more you were forced to have sex with them and have multiple children.
Well, or
you were the
be part, getting the family portraits and stuff, sure.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you didn't get whipped as much or whatever. I mean, as much. Like, it just seems that I don't know. Fuck, this is delicate. I don't even want to.
Sorry, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, you give up. You give up ultimately if you're a free society. Are you willing? What are you willing to trade in to have guaranteed safety?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Instead of, I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Like,
see, but
that's mafia shit.
And that's what Leescience was talking about.
So I think the Ebodari blacksmiths were probably treated better than someone who was closer to the royal family, though. It's just weird. It's just a flip of, like, the closer you are, the more stringent.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Right on.
See, I think.
I mean, those servants of Lord Turok were kneeling, facing the wall while he was fighting. I mean, this was because they were super close to him. But if you were just Obadari, you wouldn't have to kneel and face a wall where there's a fight.
They were slaves. They were slaves. Those people were slaves. They were not free people that were acquired by the Shanshan. They weren't the farmers and the tradespeople that were recolonizing the Westlands when the Shanshan re-landed. Those were
I hear you.
Hereditary slaves. Their parents were slaves, their grandparents were slaves, their great-parents were slaves, or they were sold into it and they were indoctrinated into that role. It's an extreme.
Once you're sold into it, there's no getting out.
Correct.
Yeah.
So no bueno.
Sorry.
No bueno, indeed.
No bueno. Yeah. No, I think I was confused by who the Daco Valet is versus just who the servants in the.
I mean, if you're a servant, you could at least like marry Selucia, I guess, and it wouldn't be that bad.
What is that?
She was ample bosom. She had an ample bosom, right?
I'm gonna have to check out, y'all. My coworker here is having a conniption and would like to go outside to go to the bathroom. So, but thank you guys so much.
It's time for us to finish anyway. Leescience, thank you so much.
Leescience.
Yes, we will look out for Leescience, Tiara of Swords.
Tiara of Swords. Well,
yeah, on Twitter, and we look forward to your whatever content you're going to come up with. And Lee, before you leave, if you need any advice or help on anything regarding technical anything making videos or audio, I will help you out. Just reach out.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great evening.
Have a great night. Tell your boss I said hi.
Bye.
I miss her already.
I miss her. Right? Man. Awesome. That was great. What other society do we want? I don't even know if we want to get into Kyrian. They're just fucking weird. I mean, what do you got on your list there, James?
I like about Carrion is every every single, job, profession in carrion, on the downside, on the backside, on the back end of it, is a job where there's room for advancement. You work in carrion. Yeah, carrion. You work in carrion. There's always a way to better yourself. There's always something going on that somebody wants to know, but you got to be careful because you could disappear. But it's a high risk, high reward place to work.
Right. Carrion reminds me of like mobs, like old mob movies where it's like, hey, so I see that Jimmy Boots is coming in here for lunch every Tuesday. Yay. Hey, listen. Hey, I'm gonna give you some money here. I need you to tell me what he's talking about. But then if you don't, and then you lose your hand to a meat grinder or something.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So it's like in carrion. But the thing is, there's other, and that's why these books are so vast and they have so much content and they have so much detail because, servants in the Borderlands, and even in Andor, like if you're Mistress Harper, you have a lot of power. You are running the entire royal castle, and all this. You have hundreds upon hundreds of servants under you, and even the nobles walk light-footed around you because if they're assholes to you, they're going to have a shitty life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to wake up and they're going to have to take cold showers. They're going to have to, they're not going to have any toilet paper when they're sitting in the bucket room. They're all those little things in life will make them misery. So
right.
In the Borderlands, they have what is it they call the Shibuya and the Shibote, who
Shibuya.
In the East Ishar Palace, and they're both highly respected jobs. So yeah, I mean, they're so different in different cultures. It's like even Loris,
Mistress of the Kitchens, might be one of the highest ranked commoners in Tar Valon.
Now,
yes.
I love talking about her because I really believe she is one of the very low characters in the entire series that could get her own book.
She has a whole backstory that we don't know anything about.
I think there could be an entire book about Laris, like a new spring version of Laris that would be highly entertaining,
maybe she was some like super amazing courtesan who lived
She's
this
Megan
amazing
Fox.
life, and then all of a sudden she was like, "Screw this! I love bread."
Well, remember, she was almost,
I love bread.
I just need to bake.
She tells Min at one point she was almost executed. So, she had a very, very crazy past.
Yeah, colorful backstory for
it,
sure. For sure.
So, yeah, and I think, oh my God, what's her name? The perfect Laris. Who would pay Laris perfect?
Thank you.
You know who I'm talking about. The comedian. She's heavy. Brown hair.
Melissa McCarthy?
Miss McCarthy.
I'd like to see her.
I always
Ursula? She just played Ursula.
Who is that? Who is that? That Misery? Who played Misery? I think she would.
Kathy Bates.
Kathy
Yeah.
Bates.
Kathy Bates.
She would make a good Laris.
She's a little long in the tooth, but she could.
They could just put on a bodysuit. It's all good.
She's got long teeth,
in the
Ryan.
tooth. She's an old lady now, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
She's a little old for the role.
Yeah, she's a little old.
Lars definitely attended every musical festival.
Facts. Ashmaza! I love you, Ashmaza. I met you at Jordan Con. Ashmaza is amazing, y'all. Just
Right?
absolutely amazing person.
I'm glad you guys are. I'm glad everyone's here.
Yeah.
So, Laris is a
Hey,
cook.
Skeeter.
We know about a lot of different cooks in the Wheel of Time that the cook at the Wandering Woman in Ebudar. And then we also have the cook in Carrion who basically, I mean, not in Carrion, in Andor at the Queen's Blessing.
At the Queen's
Blessing.
runs the place. Facts.
Yeah, pretty much runs the place. And even Matt thought that it was his wife.
Basil Gill's wife. Yeah.
Basil Gill's wife. So we have.
All right,
this.
so
is it when he's begging to not quit?
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
don't say no.
You can keep your cat. You can
How many
keep your
times a
cat.
month does she quit?
No, that was Sarah because of her cats killing all the rats. Remember,
Right.
that was a different inn. That was an inn. No, yeah. We said, where was that? That was in Bearlawn.
No.
No.
I think it was Barelon.
That was in
No,
Bearlawn.
that
Or
was
Whitebridge?
that was at
That
the
was
Queen's
Basil
Crossing
Gills,
because
yeah.
Maureen comes in and says, "I can help you with your rat problem," and she casts ward around the house to keep the rats away.
No, but what? No.
Then all the
Oh,
rats.
the 12 rats, the rats
In
at night
everyone,
when
they
they
all
woke up from their
snapped their
dream.
backs.
Yep. Yeah,
Not
you're
us.
right.
Ran out to tell Tom about it, and then they were rushing back to get Perrin, and Perrin opens the door and says, "Nynaeve's."
Yes. Oh,
No, you're
great
right.
moment.
You're right.
All right, so I'm going to challenge you guys. We did not discuss this, but let us go, and maybe this is the final one. Let's talk about the dark side. Let's talk about Thakandar, about Shayol Ghul.
Okay.
So what do you think it is like, besides the obvious unpleasantries? But they still need blacksmiths. We see that there's Thakandar forged blades. I'm sure they need farmers. I mean, what do you think is that society like as far as being just a normal person?
Well, I believe that a very vast amount of the Shadows blacksmiths are animated stonemen. And Trollocs.
Yeah.
And Trollocs. I believe the Trollocs do a little bit of forging themselves to make crude weaponry. And I believe that the forgers make all the black swords. And actually, this is very cool that we're talking about this because I have a theory that I thought about last week about the forgers.
All right,
Now,
all right.
if
Everyone, buckle in.
that the technique they use with the swords and killing humans is milking tears. Now, Mogady told Nynaeve and Elaine about milking tears, but she never actually told them what it was. Now, I thought about it, and I was like, what would they do? What would milking tears actually be? What, drawing the sorrow from someone? So I believe that the forgers perform, they are basically Terangriel. The forgers are Terangriel that perform milking tears to provide the swords for the fates.
Oh, that
I feel dirty just thinking about it.
right. I'm picturing. Oh,
I don't want to know what you're picturing.
you just throw the worst emotion, like whatever is going to make this person feel as bad as possible. You just pump that to 11.
I
And-
mean, but in a way, okay, so we have the example of when Slayer is in the town
Yep.
and he sees the mother and the baby.
That wasn't Slayer, that was Demon Dread.
That was demonstrated.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. Demandred in the beginning of Lord of Chaos, right? When he
Yeah.
goes. So if that was true and we were like milking tears, wouldn't it make more sense for them to kill the baby first and make the tears of the mother flow greater because she was
I don't
taken
know.
from him
But I think
first?
they imbue those swords with something, and then they seal it with dropping it in the Black River. So I don't
It's
know.
the evil river
That's
sticks.
a little theory. I mean, no, that's a complete Jansen theory. Nobody has ever
I love it.
separated that with me, but that's the only thing I could come up with.
It totally tracks, so it makes sense. Cool.
It does.
So-
It does. There's a little bit of truth to it.
So we do hear about Trolloc cookpots. Are there? Is there a head chef? Do you think, like a Loris?
God, I don't want to even think about that. I'm vegan,
Okay.
so thinking about
Okay.
that
All right,
is
all
like
right,
something I can't even.
He's going around being like,
It's like that's
more parsnip.
the way of the leaf after dark. Like that's
Like,
after
sipping the
Beth goes
soup.
to bed, just like
Oh, I gotta see a picture now with the truth.
This one needs more children.
where's Kevin Angus when you need him?
Parsnips and child.
Oh my God.
It's like the
Oh my
Swedish
God.
chef but he has trial nipples.
Nice.
The Swedish Chef and Beaker put together.
Burp, burp, burp.
You call this a tuber?
Defend the child in the pool tipper.
Okay. Oh my God.
All right.
Okay, guys, I got to wrap it up soon.
Yeah. Let's do it.
No, what a great conversation. I enjoyed
this is
this
fun.
immensely.
Okay.
Yes.
I gotta do Way of the Leaf family plug here.
Let's do it.
Tom and I are playing Third Age tonight. After we're done here, if you guys like board games, watch Third Age. Tom will be streaming on DragonReader's YouTube and
Describe what it is. Third Age is what?
Third Age is a Wheel of Time fan-made board game that takes place in the Third Age of the Wheel of Time, and you play as one of 5 characters, one of the Emmonsfield 5, and each of the 5 characters has different attributes, and it's a card-based game, and you recruit allies, fight enemies, get resources, and ultimately the person who has the most points at the end of the game wins, and it all involves like beating Forsaken, and you try to like stump other people from getting ahead further than you. It's just a really fun game. There's like it's involved, but if you like board games and you like tabletop games, then you should really check out a stream of it. And there is a competitive league that goes on. There was the yeah. Oh, it's a thing. It's a thing.
I want to learn how to play. I
It's a
think I'm
thing.
going to try and watch you
It's a
guys
thing.
tonight so I can
You
try
should
and
watch
pick
it.
up.
Watch it. I'm definitely going to
Okay,
do it.
because it is so if you guys like want to support Tom and I, Tom is streaming on both YouTube and Twitch on Dragon Mount's channel. I got affiliate status with Twitch, so I cannot simul stream on YouTube and Twitch, but y'all can like have multiple windows open, so it counts as viewer count.
Yeah.
Like you know,
Yeah.
you can be chatting in one, and you can be like listening. You know, so we Tom and I, we have adopted each other as siblings, and this Sunday night after the Way of the Leaf is over, we stream stuff. And Skeeter was actually plays in the league, and I think Light Blind and Fool was in chat earlier. He also plays in league, and Wolf Brother 7 plays. There's a lot of people, and Critter XD plays, Jessica Sty plays. There's a bunch of people who play, and it was all created by James, who lives in England. Wheel Up Time, so not What Up Time, but Wheel Up Time is his YouTube. He has a lot of instructional videos on there to show you, to kind of introduce you to the game. There's a Discord server. If you are interested, please, it needs more attention than it currently gets, because it is really excellent. It's well thought out. It's a balanced game, and it is all about the Wheel of Time. It's like it's amazing.
I'm surprised I never knew about this. Okay.
Now, is there like
It's relatively new.
Is there any way we could possibly have like a 10-minute segment where you play it every show just for 10 minutes and then move on, or is it no?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
no.
It is a 2, depending on how you can play up to 5 people, as little as 2, up to 5, and it can be anywhere from 90 minutes to 3-hour game. Unless you're Tom and you played in your first league game yesterday and your game goes 5 hours and 41 minutes.
I saw the 5-hour stream. I felt bad for everyone's bums. All right, well, Jansen, let's let you go. Do you have anything do you have anything coming out, Jansen, that we should know about?
I do not. We are still on strike in Hollywood, and it's quiet out here, and it's getting tight. We're hoping that it'll be over soon.
Yeah,
when it does get over, it's going to be crazy work. So I'm excited about that.
So, Jansen, what is currently out that we could catch you in?
The most current thing? 2 weeks. You'll be seeing a commercial for Red Pocket Mobile.
Yeah.
Yes, sweet.
Fabulous.
Are you still the voice of Southern California Toyota dealers?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
A long time.
Okay.
That was seasonal. But no, that'll be good. The only problem is I'm worried that they're going to play it too much, and then I won't get any work. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But if they play it a lot, I'll get paid, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, Jansen, if you're still on strike, WotCon is at Columbus, Ohio, middle of July. and I'm in Detroit.
Japan, June 26th. I'll be back. I believe July 4th. We'll see.
All right. Well, keep it in mind. I think it's July 12th through 15th or something like that.
Yes.
Something.
But if I do come, I won't drink any ale or any of that new squad.
You say that now. Don't bring out the oath rod. I don't want. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining us as always. Chat, you guys are awesome. This is why we do it, so we can interact with you and have a good time while talking Wheel of Time. Ryan, I love you. This was an awesome thumbnail again. Well done. I liked the village. We were all over the village there. I loved it. You guys, go look at the thumbnail again. It's fun. Beth, enjoy your game. I hope you win the league. I hope you get a championship.
That's a pipe dream, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Jansen, thank you for standing strong with your union. Power to the people, as always.
Yeah. And
love all you out there. Stay up.
Bye, Jansen. And 4 days left before free shipping on all orders for the Way of the Leaf.
Free shipping was a big deal, actually, guys.
Way of the Leaf, guys. It's like a huge thing. And their quality of the merch is amazing. This is a shirt I bought last year before I even came on the Way of Leaf. I kind of customized it a little bit and made it more girl-friendly. But it is.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that now. Our new shop is girl-friendly and guy-friendly and in-betweeners. All right, everyone. Have a great life. See you later.
Love you.